Gabimaru, a skilled shinobi from Iwagakure, survives multiple execution attempts while imprisoned. Seijiro Yamada Seinen becomes intrigued by his story and he reveals his tragic past. His parents were murdered by the village chief, leading him to seek revenge but ultimately losing his purpose and getting caught. Despite the guards' efforts, Gabimaru remains unharmed. Seijiro, assigned to execute Gabimaru, swings her sword but he dodges and sustains a minor wound. Determined to survive, Gabimaru evades her attacks. Asaman explains that Gabimaru's love for his wife prevents him from dying during execution. Memories of their love resurface, contradicting his indifference towards life. Seijiro presents an official pardon from the shogun, offering Gabimaru protection. However, he must reside in the underworld, a paradise with the immortality elixir that grants eternal life. Initially skeptical, Gabimaru dismisses it as a fairy tale. Criminals from across the country are gathered and transported to the rumored island where the elixir is believed to be found. Asaman reveals Gabimaru's wife awaits his return there. To reunite with her, he must embark on a perilous journey, confront other criminals, and secure their pardons. While conversing, the dismissive guards make another attempt on Gabimaru's life, but he uses his ninjutsu to eliminate them. Driven by his determination to find the elixir, Gabimaru sets off on his journey, ready to confront criminals and obtain their pardons. Asaman shares her own story of becoming a warrior, inspired by witnessing her father grant a man's request for a painless beheading while telling a story. Determined to replicate the same stroke, she began honing her swordsmanship skills to overcome fear. The scene shifts to the beach, where the selection of criminals for the expedition begins. Infamous criminals, including a serial killer and an arsonist, gather alongside Gabimaru and others. The volunteers reveal their goal of obtaining the elixir of life, which will grant them an official pardon. Gabimaru, wearing a restrictive mask, listens to the instructions. A girl sitting beside him recognizes him and mentions his popularity, while Asaman ponders whether Gabimaru is truly as evil as the rumors claim. The volunteers are ordered to remove their masks, revealing bodies devoid of humanity. One man who returned from the island displays lumps blooming like flowers on his body, while the fate of the other 60 samurai remains unknown. Doubts arise about the lack of disclosure, but the criminals are informed that they are all sentenced to death. When a criminal attempts to escape, Asaman slices him slightly, establishing their role as monitors during the journey. Escaping is not an option as per the shogun's orders. The shogun further instructs them to reduce their numbers before going to the island due to limited space. Chaos ensues as the criminals, except for Gabimaru, fight and kill each other with rocks. Many criminals are eliminated, pleasing the shogun. Some display superhuman powers, with Gabimaru remaining motionless throughout the fight, drawing attention. Aizen Dawn intervenes, preventing Seijiro from joining the expedition. She shares her experiences of being trained in the Yamada clan and the fear she once felt. When approached by criminals, she beheads them but momentarily feels an imaginary fear of them grabbing her. Gabimaru speaks out against the shogun, expressing that killing people is never justified, but his words go unheard. Suddenly, a guard orders the criminals to try and kill Gabimaru. He skillfully dodges their rock attacks and swiftly eliminates them with his bare hands, slicing their necks. Covered in blood, he declares that he will bear the weight of countless deaths, shocking everyone. Seijiro, the Asaman girl, realizes that she doesn't fear killing, but rather feels the burden of the lives she has taken. The selection process is halted, and the 10 chosen individuals for the expedition are announced. Azachobe, the Bandit King, Tamiya the Sword Dragon, Twisted Kian, Nurugai of the Senka, and Gabimaru the Hollow are among the chosen ones. Each is assigned an Asaman and boards a ship to begin their quest for the elixir of life. On the island, Gabimaru and Seijiro explore the beautiful flower-filled surroundings. However, Gabimaru becomes suspicious of the unnatural abundance of flowers and attempts to untie his hands. After a heated argument, he agrees to keep them tied. Suddenly, Gabimaru is struck by a large iron ball thrown by another criminal, Twisted Kian, known for his love of weapons. A fierce battle ensues between Gabimaru and Twisted Kian, with the latter launching multiple attacks. In an ironic twist, Twisted Kian ends up being killed by his own weapons, despite Gabimaru's hands being tied. Gabimaru's Asaman collects Twisted Kian's severed head and updates them on the situation on the island. Many criminals have either killed their Asamans or been slain by them. The arrival of Iwagakure and more people to the island is imminent, prompting the Asaman to depart. In a surprising turn of events, Gabimaru reveals his true nature and attempts to kill Seijiro. However, she defends herself, leading to a fierce sword fight between them. Gabimaru explains that he must find the elixir of life before Iwagakure arrives, struggling with his emotions and desire for revenge. These conflicting emotions weaken him, but he launches another attack on Seijiro, breaking her sword. He urges her to surrender and accept a quiet death, as her demise will cause him pain. As the fight reaches its climax, Seijiri lies on the ground while Gabimaru stands over her. Gabimaru, who was raised without emotions, is on the verge of delivering a fatal blow. However, he finds himself unable to do so due to the emotions he experienced because of his wife. He feels weaker than ever before. Seijiri enlightens him, explaining that these emotions are the seeds of strength, and that he is no longer the person he used to be. Meanwhile, another criminal named Tamiya and his assailant encounter a strange phenomenon. Tamiya is bitten by a butterfly, causing him to cut off his own hands, which transform into flowers. It becomes evident that the island's creatures are not from their world. As more peculiar creatures, including massive monsters, begin to emerge, Gabimaru and Seijiri find themselves in an increasingly perilous situation. Gabimaru and Seijiri engage in a battle with a fish monster and its smiling companions. Despite remembering the rule of not fighting unknown enemies, the monster attacks Gabimaru, causing injuries. Gabimaru taps into his inner hollow nature, deciding to stop thinking and just kill. He eliminates the monsters by burning their faces and slicing their necks. Another monster threatens Seijiri, but Gabimaru saves her by cutting off its hand. However, it is swiftly killed by Yuzuriha, a ninja girl who wields two assaimans. Gabimaru expresses gratitude and agrees to work together with her, following his wife's advice. Yuzuriha proposes exchanging information about the island in return for Gabimaru's strength, emphasizing their ability to part ways at any time. They agree to journey together, while Seijiri falls unconscious. Tomo, a girl from the Yamada clan, shares her story of training to save her brother Azuchobi, known as the Bandit King. They encounter talking monsters on the island, but Chobe effortlessly eliminates them using their own weapons, declaring himself as a god. Trusting her brother completely, Tomo decides to consume the elixir with him, while Gabimaru and the others continue their journey. Seijiri wakes up from a disturbing dream and asks Genji, an assailant, about their location. Genji reveals they are on Cavern Island and explains that Seijiri lost consciousness due to butterfly poison. Meanwhile, Gabimaru prepares a meal called Kikatsugen and ponders on the flowers growing from dead samurai, considering the possibility of humans turning into plants. They discuss the island's statues, mysterious structures, and dangerous creatures, speculating on their origin and the existence of the elixir of life. Genji suggests Seijiri should return to the mainland due to her duty to marry the next head of the Yamada clan. Initially reluctant, Seijiri contemplates her decision. However, Senta interrupts, claiming it is impossible to return. Meanwhile, Assaiman Tenza and a young criminal named Nurugai attempt to escape on a boat. They encounter broken Shigant boats and defend themselves against octopus-like creatures. Nurugai sees it as punishment for bringing samurai to his village, resulting in his grandfather's murder. Witnessing an assailant transform into a flower, they find themselves surrounded but manage to kill the monsters. Injured, they discover a potential escape route and realize Nurugai is a girl. They decide to gather allies for their return. Seijiri informs Gabimaru that she will be leaving the next day with the other assailant, following her senior's orders. They have an emotional conversation and Gabimaru expresses gratitude, recognizing Seijiri's impact on him. He assures her he won't flee from anyone and admires her strength. The next morning, Seijiri declines Genji's request for her to stay on the island. Genji attempts to attack her, but Seijiri skillfully disarms him and steals his sword. Suddenly, a large criminal named Rokuroda appears and attacks Genji. Genji is severely injured by Rokuroda's attack, prompting Seijiri to flee. However, Rokuroda tries to grab her, only to be stopped by Gabimaru's swift strike to his neck. Despite the blow, Rokuroda remains unharmed due to his immense strength. Gabimaru realizes Rokuroda's superiority and asks Yuzuriha for help, but she chooses to provide information rather than fight. During their battle, Gabimaru discovers Rokuroda's exceptional reaction time and attempts various techniques, all of which fail. Meanwhile, Seijiri tends to Genji, defying gender roles. Genji offers Seijiri her sword and she joins the fight against Rokuroda. Seijiri manages to cut Rokuroda's finger using the Yamada assailant style. They continue their attack, targeting different areas. However, Rokuroda remains unaffected. Seijiri aligns her duty and goals, displaying her true swordsmanship skills. They realize that landing a decisive blow is difficult, and that they must attack his moving body's gaps. Rokuroda becomes more aggressive, attacking Gabimaru and injuring him. Seijiri defends against his assaults, showcasing her composure and precision. Witnessing her strength, Rokuroda eventually falls. Seijiri aims for his neck, but he escapes. Gabimaru plans to use his Stone Storm and Aztec Blaze techniques to engulf the area in flames. They successfully execute the plan, causing Yuzuriha and Senta to flee. Rokuroda succumbs to the poisonous smoke and collapses. Seijiri skillfully beheads him while Gabimaru maintains balance. Leaving Genji behind, they notice the unnatural behavior of the monsters converging toward the fire. They decide to follow their path, hoping to find the elixir of life. Along the way, they encounter Yuzuriha and Senta and continue their journey together. Eventually, they arrive at Shinsenkyo village, rumored to be inhabited by hermits. Meanwhile, Tamo and Azachobe slay monsters on their journey. Tamo explains the concept of hermits, immortals with spellcasting abilities based on philosophical beliefs. Aza finds it absurd, and their attention is drawn to something suspicious in the trees. They discover two naked girls, adding to the mystery. The girls unexpectedly identify Tamo and Aza as humans, and one of them transforms into a man, expressing a desire to kill them for ruining their mood. In the village, Gabimaru chases after a young girl but is interrupted by a tree monster. While Yuzuriha and Senta handle the monster, Gabimaru and Seijiri pursue the little girl. Gabimaru manages to catch her hand, but she throws him to the ground and tries to escape. Seijiri reassures the girl, prompting her to hesitate. However, she attempts to punch Seijiri with great strength, only to be blocked by Gabimaru. Gabimaru senses a different power within her. He immobilizes her with tree roots, but when she starts crying, they release her. Seijiri comforts her, and they regroup with Yuzuriha. The tree roots monster offers to guide them to the village and share information about the elixir in exchange for the little girl. They agree, and the monster leads them to Kotaku, also known as Shinsenkyo, where the gods reside. They learn about the elixir called Tan, passed down in ancient legends. The island is divided into Aishu, Hojo, and Hore, with Hore being the location of the elixir. Gabimaru doubts the monster's information, but the monster insists that encountering the Tensen, perfect and immortal beings, will dispel their doubts. These Tensen possess the power to punish and transform trespassers into beautiful flowers, the source of Tan. Gabimaru takes a bath and finds the information fragmentary. Meanwhile, Seijiri teaches the little girl how to bathe, showing kindness. Gabimaru shares details about his wife's beauty and the scar on his face with Seijiri and the little girl. Seijiri begins to see Gabimaru in a different light, understanding that he has the potential to change over time. Tenza's backstory reveals his life as a seemingly useless person who resorted to stealing food to survive. One day, while beating someone, he is interrupted by a person wielding a sword. On the island beach, Tenza and Nurugai encounter a person who came to investigate unusual things. They attempt to flee, but the person blocks their path and attacks Tenza. Despite Tenza's efforts, his attacks prove ineffective. Their escape is thwarted by the pursuing monster, but Tenza's master, Cheyenne, intervenes. As they cover a distance, they discuss the situation and introduce Cheyenne to Nurugai. They find no leads but are unexpectedly confronted by the monster again. In the ensuing battle, Cheyenne is severely injured and left behind as Tenza and Nurugai try to escape. Tenza fights with all of his remaining strength, realizing how much his master means to him. Despite sustaining severe injuries, he sacrifices himself to buy time for Cheyenne's escape. Nurugai questions why they didn't save their master, and Cheyenne explains that Tenza instructed them to run because there were no other options available. Gabimaru follows the lead of bowing trees and discovers a massive man-made door in the south. He encounters a regenerating monster that killed Tenza and engages in a brutal battle. Despite sustaining severe injuries, Gabimaru unleashes a relentless onslaught, tearing the monster apart. However, the monster transforms into a more powerful form with two faces and flower-like legs. Exhausted, Gabimaru questions the reality of his situation and reunites with his wife in a dream-like state. Near death, he apologizes to her. Mei, a child, intervenes and saves Gabimaru from the monster's final blow. They regroup and decide to head towards Hore, believing Gabimaru will be there. The tree monster joins them, revealing the nature of the Tensen and the transformation of humans into trees. Gabimaru awakens, realizing Mei saved him. He contemplates the true nature of the immortals and remains determined to find a way to defeat them. Tamiya and Fuchi arrive, marking the end of the season. Gabimaru, Tamiya, and Fuchi form a team to gather information and defeat the Tensens. Mei woke up and joined them, and Gabimaru asked her about the secrets to defeating the Tensens. Meanwhile, Seijiri and the others search for Gabimaru and Mei, discovering the island's man-made religious system and suspecting a creator. Mei tried to explain the secrets using the words strong and weak, but her speech impediment made it challenging to understand. Hoko explained the concept of Tao and its flow through all things, granting godlike strength and body when mastered. During their journey, Gabimaru's group encountered monsters and an unknown person. The Tensen couple discussed harvesting more tan by killing humans, while Aza and Toma climbed out of a pit and revealed the Tensen's weakness. Dashibi arrived and informed them that the Tensens were their masters. Aza attacked Dashi, but his hand regenerated. Dashi called in monsters and Toma fought against them. Dashi discovered Aza's weak points with the help of Tao and delivered a powerful blow. Aza fought against Doshi B, and despite sustaining severe injuries, Aza discovered his enhanced Tao and defeated Doshi B. Toma grew suspicious of the scars multiplying on Aza's body. Tamiya, Fuchi, and Mei continued eliminating monsters, learning about controlling Tao and exploiting weak points. Gabimaru intervened when Doshi A appeared and tried to take Mei, comparing her to the Tenzin. A battle ensued, and Doshi A revealed their true insect form. They explained the 5 steps of Tao and Mei's role in their master's training. Gabimaru and Tamiya refused to give Mei up, angered by the objectification of women. The fight escalated, and Gabimaru used his newfound understanding of Tao to evade attacks and defeat the monsters. With his enhanced abilities, Gabimaru became as powerful as the Tenzin. Meanwhile, Seijiri and the others arrived at Hooray. Hako, a companion, is fatally struck by a Tenzin who transforms into a tree. Hako expresses gratitude for their arrival in Hooray, but succumbs to his injuries. Yuzuriha is captured by the Tenzin, prompting Seijiri to demand her release. The Tenzin reveals the island's theories of gods and souls as lies, treating everyone as experimental subjects. They demonstrate human creations, indicating the absence of the elixir of life. Realizing Gabimaru won't receive a pardon without the elixir, they attempt to escape. Yuzuriha strikes the Tenzin's head, and they make a hasty retreat. The Tenzin counterattacks with a liquid assault, but Yuzuriha dodges it. Senta challenges the Tenzin, showcasing advanced utilization of Tao. Seijiri observes Senta's feelings for Yuzuriha. Yuzuriha suffers severe injuries from the Tenzin's Tao attack. Senta struggles against the Tenzin's regenerative abilities, but Seijiri discovers a way to harm him. She attacks the Tenzin's face, revealing his vulnerability. Seijiri joins forces with Yuzuriha and Senta, overpowering the Tenzin. They immobilize and defeat him, though they lament the absence of the elixir. Seijiri and Senta discuss Senta's feelings for Yuzuriha, both longing to find a way to save everyone on the island. Gabimaru falls unconscious, and they inquire about Mei's needs. Fuchi notices a change in Gabimaru's demeanor. Meanwhile, the Tenzin's flowers continue to grow, and a root with a flower attacks Yuzuriha. Senta defends her, but is engulfed, remembering his cherished memories. The Tenzin transforms into a monstrous form and attacks. Just when all hope seems lost, Shine arrives and deals a powerful blow to the monster. Shine orders Nurugai and the others to stay away from the battle due to their injuries. He detects the same waves as the creature that killed Tenza and decides to use them to kill the Tenzin's soul, perceiving it as immortal. Nurugai struggles to cut the flower grown from Senta's body but receives partial healing from a drink given by Yuzuriha. Shine continues fighting, analyzing the enemy's movements and launching a direct attack. However, the Tenzin manages to scratch Shine, causing flowers to bloom all over his body. Determined, Shine fights on while Seijiri and the others decide to assist him. Seijiri realizes that positive interactions increase Tao and devises a plan to attack the Tenzin's core. With Nurugai's defense and Seijiri's Tao sensing, they engage the Tenzin head-on, instructing Shine to attack from behind. The plan works, and the Tenzin falls with regrowth delays. The Tenzin retaliates with lightning, but Shine unleashes his full power, attacking the ovule of the plant. The Tenzin is defeated, but Senta is critically wounded and dies in Seijiri's arms. Determined to save everyone, Seijiri swears to continue. Gabimaru wakes up with no memory, and they rest for the night. They discuss Tao, the absence of the elixir, and Gabimaru's lost memories. The season ends with hope for a future reunion.